Have you ever wondered why some 65-year-old women can still outlift people half their age, while others struggle to open a jar? Part of the answer might be sitting in a tub of white powder on a bodybuilder's kitchen counter. Menopause changes almost everything about how a woman's body handles muscle and bone. On average, women lose about 1% of their bone mass every single year after menopause hits. Add in accelerating muscle loss and declining strength, and you get a recipe for something doctors call sarcopenia, the gradual disappearing act of muscle tissue that quietly raises the risk of falls, fractures, and losing independence later in life. Around the world, sarcopenia is estimated to affect somewhere between 10 and 27% of people over 60, and the numbers climb sharply after 70. It is one of those quiet epidemics nobody talks about at dinner parties. So what if there was a cheap, extremely well-studied supplement that could help slow some of that down? For decades, one candidate has been sitting in plain sight: creatine monohydrate. It sounds almost like a joke. The same white tub sitting on a 22-year-old's kitchen counter, next to protein bars and pre-workout, might also belong in a 70-year-old grandmother's cabinet. Creatine itself is not some flashy new biohack. It was first identified in meat back in 1832 by a French scientist, and by the 1990s, it had become one of the best-selling sports supplements on Earth, marketed almost entirely at young men. Creatine is one of the most heavily researched supplements on the planet, with thousands of studies behind it. The problem is that almost all of that research was done on young men, mostly athletes and bodybuilders. Women, and especially older women past menopause, were basically an afterthought. Have you ever noticed how often health research quietly forgets about half the population? Walk into any pharmacy, and you will find shelves stacked with calcium and vitamin D marketed straight at menopausal women. Creatine, despite decades of research in other groups, is nowhere to be found on that shelf. That gap matters more than it might seem, because postmenopausal women are exactly the group that could use extra help the most. Estrogen does far more than regulate the menstrual cycle. It also protects muscle, supports recovery after exercise, and helps the tiny power plants inside your cells keep functioning efficiently. When estrogen drops sharply at menopause, muscles can become less responsive to the normal signals that build tissue, something researchers call anabolic resistance. Basically, the same workout stops paying off the way it used to. At the same time, bones are losing density, and lower muscle mass means less pulling force on those bones to help keep them strong. It is a 1-2 punch happening at exactly the same time in a woman's life. So does creatine actually work the same way in women as it famously does in men? Inside your muscles, creatine gets stored as phosphocreatine, a kind of rapid backup battery your cells tap into during short bursts of intense effort, like the last few reps of a heavy set or a sprint up a flight of stairs. More phosphocreatine on tap generally means you can push a little harder, recover a little faster between sets, and over months, that adds up to more strength and muscle. Despite that simple mechanism, creatine still drags around some stubborn myths, especially among women. Is it basically a steroid? No. Will it turn you bulky overnight? Also no. Ask around and you will hear the same worries over and over. Will it make me look bloated? Will it show up on a blood test as something dangerous? Will I have to keep taking it forever once I start? Most of those fears trace back to marketing built for 20-something men, not 60-something women. What creatine actually causes early on is water being pulled into muscle cells, not fat, and not the dramatic transformation some people imagine. Interestingly, postmenopausal women often start out with lower baseline creatine stores in their muscles than younger women, which, in theory, could make them even more likely to respond well to supplementing it. Add in the fact that vegetarians and women not using hormone therapy tend to have even lower natural creatine levels, and you get a population that, on paper, looks like an ideal candidate for this supplement. But theory is not proof, and for years nobody had pulled together everything we actually know about creatine specifically in postmenopausal women. A handful of small trials existed here, another one there, using different doses, different lengths, different exercise routines, scattered across 2 decades of research nobody had properly connected. You take a daily supplement hoping it works, without really knowing if the science actually backs it up. A lot of people do exactly that. Despite everything creatine has going for it on paper, until recently nobody had ever pulled together a dedicated, rigorous review looking only at postmenopausal women. This new study is the first of its kind. Before we get to what they found, it is worth remembering just how high the stakes are. Falls and fractures tied to weak bones send hundreds of thousands of older women to the hospital every single year. A hip fracture in an older adult is not a minor inconvenience. It can mean months of rehabilitation, lost independence, and in some cases, a substantially higher risk of dying within the following year. Think about what a bit of extra leg strength actually means day to day. Carrying groceries up a flight of stairs. Getting up off the floor after playing with a grandchild. Catching your balance instead of falling. Compare that to some osteoporosis medications, which can run into hundreds of dollars a month and carry their own list of side effects. Creatine, by comparison, costs pennies and has one of the longest safety records around. So the researchers went looking, this time with real rigor, combing through 6 major research databases including Medline, Embus, Scopus, and the Cochrane Library for every randomized, placebo-controlled trial on creatine in postmenopausal women. They started with 745 records, screened every single one, and after weeding out duplicates, irrelevant populations and studies without a proper placebo group, they were left with 7 randomized controlled trials worth trusting. Together, those 7 trials covered 608 postmenopausal women, average age around 62, followed for anywhere between 12 weeks and 2 full years, testing daily creatine doses from as little as 1 gram up to 20 grams. The headline result: women taking creatine gained noticeably more lean muscle mass than those on placebo, an average of about 0.37 extra kilograms of muscle across the pooled trials. Strength gains were even more striking. On the leg press, a key test of lower body power, creatine users improved their 1 rep max by an average of 7.5 kilograms more than the placebo group. That is not just a number on a machine. Extra leg strength like that can be the difference between struggling to stand up from a chair and doing it with ease. But here is the catch, and it is a big one. Creatine alone, without resistance training, barely moved the needle at all. The real benefits only showed up when creatine was combined with actual strength training. In the trials that paired creatine with a structured workout program, muscle gains were solid and consistent. In the trials with no exercise at all, the effect basically disappeared. Dosing mattered too. Women taking 5 grams a day or more, especially alongside training, saw the clearest benefits. Lower doses of 1 to 3 grams a day without exercise showed essentially nothing. What about bones, the other big concern of menopause? Here the news was less exciting. Across the trials, creatine did not meaningfully improve bone mineral density compared to placebo. And safety, consistently reassuring. Side effects were mild, similar to placebo, and kidney function markers stayed completely normal, even in the trial that ran for a full 2 years. So the bottom line for a typical 60-year-old woman lifting weights a few times a week: creatine could realistically mean an extra ½ kilogram of muscle and several extra kilograms of strength, with no real downside. The researchers' practical advice is simple. Either load with about 20 grams a day for 5 days, or just start straight at 3 to 5 grams a day, alongside a real resistance training routine. It will not fix your bones by itself, and it will not replace the gym. But paired with the right training, this decades-old, unglamorous supplement might genuinely help women hold onto strength for longer. This video was based on a 2026 systematic review and meta-analysis published in the Journal of the International Society of Sports Nutrition, covering 7 randomized controlled trials and 608 women.